Hello everyone, I'm Julie Shaler and I'm really happy that you're here joining us for our training today on how to effortlessly network and position yourself for that dream job without fumbling the interview or wasting your time. So if you are ready to escape from a feeling of uncertainty, worry, or just feeling like you're wasting your time, you're in the right place. Because time is ticking and none of us want to look back on any portion of our career with regret. Today I'm going to share two tools with you that are truly what I think the game changers for getting the career that you want and that you deserve to have. And make sure you stay till the end because we have a $200 gift at the end of the training. But before we jump in, let's have a little fun. In the chat box, would you share two things? First, your name, and secondly, a vacation location that's on your bucket list. So I'll share mine. Mine is to go to Finland and stay in a glass igloo and watch the Northern Lights. That is what I call a bucket list experience. I also want to introduce my amazing business partners this morning, Jennifer Malloy and Cindy Kreger. So Jennifer and Cindy are going to be doing future trainings with us, but because this particular topic is my passion, I'm leading this first one. Thanks, guys. And Jennifer is going to be monitoring our virtual audience as we go along. Do you guys know what a work wasteland is? It's that period of time when you know it's time to do something new, but you stay in your job. You stay because maybe you're uncertain or afraid to make a move, or you don't know what to do, or you're too busy or too stressed, etc., etc. I call it a work wasteland because you're wasting your time and your potential and the impact that you could be making in your job. I am on a mission to wipe out work wasteland because I spent almost 3 years in it. I've always been driven professionally, and it was kind of inevitable because I was raised with a really amazing role model, my dad, who was a very successful businessman. By the time I'd finished school at age 30, I'd had 3 major career transitions, and each one brought a new level of growth and success and kind of the rise up the corporate ladder. But when I was in my most senior level role, I got what I now call the soul call. It's that inner knowing, and at the time I didn't know what it was. It just felt like agitation, restlessness that I couldn't shake. I tried to ignore it, but it's kind of like putting on a pair of pants. They're just a little bit too tight. You're kind of always uncomfortable and you can never relax. But I know that the universe was guiding me to something else because I had heard the whispers intuitively for probably 2 years, but I was ignoring them. Actually, I was resisting them, blocking them, and I got really, really good at coping with them. But things started to unravel for me in the spring of 2005, because from the outside, I had what looked like a dream job. I was working at a Fortune 50 technology firm. I had an amazing boss, a great team, a cushy 6-figure plus salary, benefits that were amazing, a seat at the table with the executive leadership, and it was amazing from all outside appearances. But here's a clue, you guys. You can't judge a book by its cover. You often have no idea how much your coworkers might be suffering by just looking at how they're doing and how they're showing up at work. And that was me. Because in the office, I was working at superstar level, getting bonuses and promotions, and it was amazing. But then I'd get home and I'd flip-flop between being an emotional basket case, kind of muting the stress with junk food and antidepressants, and being an overworking, hyper-functioning robot. It's kind of remarkable that I'm still married because my husband literally never knew who was coming home on a day-to-day basis. But I stayed in my job because I was afraid. I had no idea what else I could do, and that was scarier than staying put with what was known, even though it was not so great. I had very little confidence at the time and no support, or at least I had no idea how to get support. And I was the breadwinner for the family. And money at the time was completely my security blanket. But the real issue, I was 100% in denial, and it was not pretty. When you get that soul call, the universe is persistent. And I had my wake-up call, and I remember it distinctly. I was leading a business event for senior and executive management in San Francisco, and I'm from Seattle. It was always stressful leading up to big events. You know, you've got decks to put together, you've got VPs to brief, you have technology to set up, rooms to ready, etc., etc. But on the other side of that perfection, on the professional side, I was also, or am, a mother of my daughter Lucy, age 5 at the time, and my son Brendan, who was 2.5. And we were having issues with Brendan at daycare. He was really having a hard time adjusting, and he was acting out. And my husband, who also worked full-time, happened to be traveling at that very same time. And I remember being in the ballroom at the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco, and my phone rings, and it's daycare. I mean, normally I would have hit decline if it was any other call, but not this one. And my stomach sank because at the time, I just had a feeling that it was not good news. And I excused myself momentarily and walked out to the foyer. And I actually remember talking into the corner just so that I could hear the daycare director. And she said, "Julie, Brendan's had his 3rd strike. You have to come pick him up today. He just bit another child in class. And our policy is mop, mop, mop." And she rambled on, and I didn't hear another word she said because panic literally filled my body. My baby, he needed me. And here I was in San Francisco, 800 miles away from home. I held it together enough in that conversation just to convince her to keep him there until I could find somebody to pick him up. And fortunately, a neighbor came to the rescue and helped me out. If any of you are parents or brothers or sisters or caregivers, you've had a moment like that with someone that you love, you know that that feeling does not leave you. I went through the motions the rest of that meeting in San Francisco and caught the first flight home the next morning. And that night, when I tucked my sweet little innocent boy to bed, the aha hit me. He wasn't acting out on his own. He was reacting to the stress and the chaotic energy that I was bringing home every single day. His world was full of anxiety because of me. Whoa. And that's when I knew things had to change. I have a saying that has stuck with me over the years, and it goes like this: your mess becomes your message. And that has been totally true for me. I went through almost 3 years of going through the motions, physically showing up, but emotionally and sometimes even mentally checked out. Looking back, know I was wasting my time and sometimes the company's time, certainly my potential, my health, and the relationships with the people that I loved the most. So to say that I am passionate about helping people go through this kind of career change transition is an understatement. That gut punch in San Francisco was the final straw. Because the cost was just too high. It wasn't about me any longer. It was about these little people that I had brought into the world that I loved the most. Still get emotional about it all these years later. I'd like to tell you that I just pressed the easy button and voila, I had the perfect career. But no, it doesn't work that way. It was a journey. It was a journey of trusting myself, a journey of courage, and a commitment to continually learning and moving ahead. First, I left the stressful corporate job. I know you have to close one door to create space to open up for something new. Second, I started consulting. That was a transition so that I could figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And during that transition, I found coaching. I took a course on coaching fundamentals just to think it would help me be a better consultant at Seattle Coach, and I am still a part of that community today. And what that opened up for me was a view into what's now my ideal career. It ultimately led to professional accreditation as a coach, personal branding certification and learning, and an income level that I am in charge of. My calling is guiding and teaching clients the formula for a smooth, successful career change. Because what's taken me 15 years to master now takes my clients 5 months. How would you like to be loving your life in your dream job in just 5 months? That's what I call the easy button. Now, before we jump into how to effortlessly network and position yourself for that dream job, I want to get a little understanding of where some of you guys might be right now. Have you ever felt like you get to the weekend, you've had this great weekend, and all of a sudden Sunday night gets there and you're filled with that sense of dread because you just don't want to go into the office the next morning? Or maybe you feel like there's something bigger out there for you, something where you could make more impact, but you stay put because you literally have no idea what it would be. You might feel perhaps like your potential is being wasted, like you lost your motivation, maybe a few years ago, and you're completely disengaged. Or perhaps all the people that used to be your teammates, your peers, are now the ones getting promoted, and you're getting passed by, and you have no idea why. Or perhaps you've had a great career, you've had a lot of movement, but it's always been because somebody else said, hey, Joe, there's this great job you should take, and you do. And when you look back on it, you don't actually really even know what you want. Can you relate to any of these? If so, don't be discouraged, because you're not alone. These are all really common issues. But the good news is that I and my clients have been able to overcome these challenges. And today I'm going to share with you 2 really powerful tools to help open up job opportunities, the dream job you're looking for, that is ultimately fulfilling and provides you with a lucrative income. So instead of feeling dread or fear or anger or disappointment, how would you instead like to have a sense of certainty by defining your professional brand? And the clarity to be able to communicate yourself in interviews and all the time confidently. How would you like to be able to determine a networking approach that's both doable and effective, and have the confidence to move forward, finally go for it, and make the leap? So even if you have no clue right now, and you haven't succeeded in the past, or you haven't been promoted, just by participating in this training today, it's a solid first step. So acknowledge yourself for that. Because you can uncover great career opportunities that are both fulfilling, provide you with a great salary, and enable you to make a big impact. And I know that you're here because you want to know how to effortlessly network and position yourself for that dream job without fumbling the interview or wasting your time. So here's what we'll be doing today. First, you're going to be able to create an unforgettable brand statement. This is a summary sentence that incorporates who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And it also answers that age-old question, so what do you do? It becomes the headline to your resume and your LinkedIn. You need this. Second, we're going to be creating an effortless networking strategy for you. Because if you're applying only online right now, stop. Because learning to master or even getting better at networking is 100% worth it. Because research shows that between 80 to 85% of jobs are found through professional relationships. So if you can get better and start to master the networking process, you're 85% ahead of everyone else out there. In 5 months, you could be in your dream job. So let's dive into tool number 1, creating an unforgettable brand statement. This is based out of my years of trial and error. And what it does is that it defines you. It defines you professionally. You could think of it like the title of your book, the headline to a story. It grabs attention and it sets you apart from everyone else thus being unforgettable. I want to share with you 3 steps in creating this unforgettable brand statement. And just as a side note, those of you who are participating should have received a handout, a PDF handout on this training program. And so if you have that, pull it out in front of you. And if not, go to the online chat box, and there should be a link in the chat box bar for you. So step 1 is to define who you are professionally. And there's 3 parts or 3 pieces to this. First, you want to identify the title or position in the business that you're pursuing, or who you see yourself as. And this is important because you need to have it be something that people can easily place within a business organization. So examples can include things like leader, executive, manager, designer, analyst, not guru, creative, catalyst, game changer, only because these are titles or identities that are not common business headlines, so they don't work as well. Second, you need to give it context. Where or what function are you a leader, executive, designer for? So name that function like sales or marketing or technology, etc. And last, you need to qualify that identity. So what kind of technology leader are you? And so I'm going to read you a few examples here. So that would be things like focused sales leader, or trusted technology executive, or strategic marketing leader. So once you have that, move on to step 2, which is to define what you do. And this is a piece where people are usually really fuzzy and vague. So take a note of this. The key on here is to identify the metric or measurement that your position drives for the business. So some examples of what not to do would be like helping customer success. A better way of saying this would be delivering revenue, or driving exponential outcomes. A better way of saying this would be driving results. And so what you want to do is really identify what part of the business that you're being measured and defined, or that your position is being hired for. And so step 3 in the process is how you do it. And this is largely and usually based on your own personal strengths. And so the bottom line here is to taking time to define your personal unforgettable brand statement is really helpful. And I'll read you a few full statements so that you can get the idea of how this works together. So some examples would be focused sales leader who delivers revenue with accuracy and consistent client solutions, or trusted technology executive driving results through partnerships and strategic alliances, or strategic marketing leader building creative go-to-market solutions that deliver business growth. So if you don't have a brand statement that's something like this, then you are not able to clearly communicate what you do and how you do it in a way that people can help you. And without it, you're wasting your time networking. And so having this unforgettable brand statement has been a key tool for all my clients. And here's a story about one of those amazing clients, Victoria. So when I first started working with Victoria, she was working in a retail organization, and she's at an executive leadership position, but things were not going so well. Her results were down, there was stress, there was pressure, her executive management was breathing down her neck. It was really tough. And through the coaching process, Victoria became really clear on who she is as a leader and what she does for her organization and for the business. And she ultimately absolutely embraced the brand statement and created this one: empowering merchant leader, delivering results through people. Ultimately, she wasn't even looking, but ultimately then a recruiter found her, brought her into the interview process, and she ultimately ended up landing her dream job in New York City in the heart of the fashion district. So Victoria later told me that this process was totally incredible for her. It enabled her to really lead completely authentically and to be super crisp and focused through a really grueling interview process. So you might be thinking, hey, that sounds nice, but like, do I really need this? Like, can't I just apply for jobs without a brand statement? And let me answer that clearly. Yes, you can, but you will be wasting your time. Because again, without this, you can't clearly communicate what you want to do and how you do it in a way that people can help you. And that, my friends, brings us to our next tool. How to determine your effortless networking strategy. So let's take a little poll here. How many of you feel like you are really intentional about building professional relationships? And how many of you would say you have a strategy for networking? And how many of you would just rather skip the whole networking thing altogether? Yeah, you are not alone. And I will share with you why tool number 2 is particularly important. Early on in my career coaching work, I was working with a client, Jolene. And she had done amazing work of really defining her brand, updated her resume, her LinkedIn. She was very clear on the value that she had to offer any employer, exactly the kinds of roles that she wanted to pursue. But we got into one of our coaching sessions and she was incredibly frustrated. She had had no responses. And I was pretty puzzled by this because she was actually applying for like about 8 or so jobs every single week. And so I asked her for specifics. And she said, I have only gotten one response that said, thank you for applying. No interviews, nada, zero, zip. And so I did the research. And what I found actually astonished me. Because depending on the research study that you look at, only 3 to 5% of jobs are landed through blind online applications only. And online HR application systems will automatically screen out 50% of the applicants right off the bat. And 70 to 80%, particularly in small, mid-size, and even some of the larger companies, of the jobs are not even published. Are you seeing the story here? Jolene's results of her about 30 applications in 1 month was textbook. And this was crazy to me because talk about a career search wasteland. She had spent hours applying and hours pulling everything together, and it was not very effective. Well, I mean, it wasn't exactly a waste, I'll say that, but it for sure was not effective or efficient. Because with this data that I'd found, I knew there had to be another way. Jolene was the one who inspired me to think and create the networking system for success. And for Jolene, once we started implementing this networking, it was a godsend for her. She ended up being able to land a consulting role in the travel industry, which is what she was looking for, that allowed her to have both the income and the flexibility so that she could spend the time with her 2 boys and have the lifestyle that she wanted. Most of us intellectually know that we should network, but we don't do it. Or if we do it all wrong. And maybe I should say ineffective is probably a better word. Here's what I mean by that. We think networking is just sending LinkedIn messages. Or we set up a meeting with an acquaintance that we haven't seen in years, and we proceed to pump them for intel about an open headcount or an open position in their group. Or we show up at a networking event and we don't talk to anyone. Or maybe we set up a lunch with a colleague and we spend the whole hour hearing about their crappy boss, their kids, their broken furnace, and we leave the meeting feeling full and having had a great sandwich and never getting a word in edgewise. Or maybe you actually do have a list of people to contact, but you're procrastinating because you have no clue what to say to them. Sound familiar? So if this sounds like you, there's 2 things. Number 1, you're not alone. And secondly, don't beat yourself up. Because neuroscience shows us that if without a set of directions, the brain will do nothing. It'd be like me living in Seattle and saying, I'd like to go to Charleston, South Carolina, getting in my car with no GPS. I'm not going to go very far. And so let's give your brain a set of directions for networking. So I love this definition of networking, which is a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. This is the way to think about it. Networking is like a sorting process. It's finding your tribe. You're seeking out those like-minded people. The thing is, though, there's no Networking 101 course. You know, the advice is just go out there and meet with people, which isn't totally unhelpful. And so what I want to be able to do with you here today is to demystify networking and help you be intentional and have a system. And that's what I'm going to outline for you. So effortless networking is simple. It starts with why, and then followed by 5 questions: who, what, where, when, and how. So first you want to decide why you want to do it. Why would it matter to you? Then you want to determine who. Who are you actually going to talk to? And then what? What outcomes do you want out of the conversation? Where are you going to actually track the information? When are you going to do it? And how are you going to engage with these people? Because anything that's successful in life needs a system, and networking is no different. So I'll simplify the process like a color by numbers. I'll provide the system and the numbers, and you provide the color. Let's start with why. Your why is really the driving force behind why you would spend the time and the energy networking at all. Your why is your feeling of purpose, your values, your beliefs, what's deeply important to you. And here's a clue. Dig deep. Your why should make you cry. I'll read to you some examples from some of the clients that I've worked with so that you can get a sense for what this is about. Here's one. My why is because I want to be a role model for my daughter, showing her what a strong professional woman who's doing work she loves looks like. Or my why is to stop limiting myself, to do the work that I deserve and where I'm valued. Or here was one from one of my clients who lost her father, to build an income that allows me to give back to the American Cancer Society in honor of my dad. Wow. That's the emotional cord. Keep writing, and when you write out your why, keep going deeper until you hit that emotional cord. And that's when you know you found your why. I want to share with you a story of one of my clients, Phil, an amazing guy. And when we came into coaching together, he was one of those people that had had a fabulous career, but every job he had ever taken was because somebody else told him he should do it. And so we got to the point where he literally had no idea what he wanted to do. His career had been based on what everyone else wanted him to do. And so through the coaching process, Phil found his why. And for him, it was to be in challenging work, in a fulfilling role that could allow him to build for his future and his family. That was the main piece. And be able to create amazing, great relationships that were really important to him. And so through the networking process, he got out of his comfort zone. And I'll say, Phil is an introvert, and that is true with a lot of clients, and many of you may be more introverted, and so this can sometimes be a little bit hard. But with your why, when you really take time to dig deep and understand why it is so important for you to have that dream job, to do the work that you deserve and want to do, then it really makes it easier. And it was for Phil. The story has a great ending. Phil ended up tapping into his network of trusted relationships and ultimately went on to get an absolutely amazing leadership role in sales, in marketing at Amazon. So now that you've got your why, let's go through and answer the next 5 questions that make up that networking system. Question number 1 is who? Who are you going to talk to? Because, networking is about building relationships. And so you have to know who you're going to talk to. This is a place where people often get paralyzed because they may have a list or maybe trying to come up with a list, but then they procrastinate. And if this is you, here's some wisdom I can share with you. You can approach the networking process of reaching out to people in two ways. One, logically. So if you're looking for a marketing leadership role, then you might reach out to decision makers or people that are in marketing leadership roles because it's going to be similar. That's logical. Or if you could also approach it emotionally. And this would mean reaching out to people you know, like, and trust, even if they don't have exactly the right job title. So for you, if networking is a no-brainer, then just go with the logical approach. But if you are one of the ones that finds yourself hesitating or procrastinating, go with emotional. The goal to begin with is to come up with a list of at least 25 people. And for you overachievers out there, come up with 50. Question 2 is what? What are you going to say? And what do you want? Because once you've identified who you're going to contact, you need to know what you're going to say to them. And this is a place where people often freeze. You might have lots of contacts, but if you have no idea what to say, you're not going to get very far. But fortunately, you made a great choice to be on this training because I will tell you what to say. Simple. 20-minute networking conversation in 3 simple parts. First, after a little bit of small talk, you want to ask about the other person, about their role, how they like their job, what's challenging, etc. And second, you'll want to be able to turn and talk about yourself. And this is where you create a conversational version of your brand statement so that you can tell them what kind of role you're looking for, why it's important to the business, and what's unique about you and how you do your work. Third is that you need to make sure before you end the meeting that you have an ask. And that might be as simple as, so who do you think would be good for me to talk to? And here's what I want you to note about this. It's really, really important that you have your brand statement, because if you end a meeting and say, who should I talk to? And you haven't told them about what you do or how you do it in a way that they can understand, they're probably going to say, yeah, I can't really think of anybody. And that's definitely not what you want. So let's keep going. Question 3 is where. Where are you going to keep track of all of this information? Because most people approach this very haphazardly. You might have a few business cards in your bag, you have some emails on your computer, you have some thoughts in your head, you got sticky notes all over on your desk. Don't be most people. Because if you're serious about this process, then you're going to track all the details in one single place. And there's a lot of apps and other things that you can utilize, but I'll tell you the easiest thing is just to put it in an Excel spreadsheet and make sure that you're tracking, yes, the contact information, but also the dates that you're following up with people, what the results were, what the outcomes were. Because it's not effortless when you're scrambling around trying to look and find somebody's email. Question 4 is when. When are you going to schedule these conversations? Because let's face it, if it's not scheduled and on your calendar, it is not going to happen. If something is not on my calendar, it's not happening. So there's 2 decisions for you to make here. First, you need to choose a time on the calendar when you can do your networking consistently. So look for a time when you don't have distractions, or maybe it's a place where you can focus more. And that leads us to the second one, is to pay attention to what your natural energy rhythm is. Because if you're an early bird, then you may want to think about doing the networking reach out and the contacts and the follow-ups in the morning. If you're a night owl, then do it in the evening. But the point is, choose a time when you know you can be most focused, where there's least number of distractions, because when you are utilizing that, you can get more done more efficiently when your energy level is higher. Question 5 is how. How do you want to talk to people, and how are you going to stay accountable? So first, think about how you want to approach networking. There's one-on-ones that you could set up with, there's networking events, there's online networking. So there's a lot of choices out there about how you can approach it. But it's important for you just to pick the one that feels most natural to you and go with that. Give it a month, give it 2, and then look at the results. Are you getting the results that you were wanting to by trying that way out? If not, then change it. Secondly, do an integrity check with yourself. How accountable, how self-accountable are you? Because if you're one of those rare people that's 100% self-accountable, bottle it. You could make multi-millions. And if not, know that you're in the majority. Because most people say they want to network, but they don't actually do it. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Here's a research piece for you. The American Society of Training and Development did a 2017 study on accountability, and they found that when you commit to another person, you increase your chances of success by up to 95%. Hello, 95%? Use this as a tool, as a competitive advantage for yourself, instead of beating yourself up that I didn't do it. So find a friend, a coach, a mentor who can help hold you accountable. And when you do this, you'll go further faster. So after you've finished with this whole networking system, take time to review, to reflect, to revise, and then repeat what works. Think about it like a scientist would approach a theory. You want to test out what works and change what doesn't. And so the important thing here is don't take it personally. And here's a pro tip. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Business protocol is 3 contacts. So reach out to somebody once, send them an email, and if they don't respond, send them a follow-up a week later. If they still don't respond, send one last follow-up. And if there's still no response, if they're ghosting you, the best advice I can give you is bless and release and move on. So we have covered a lot of good stuff in this training today. And you now know how to create an unforgettable brand statement and an effortless networking strategy. So this might be all that you need to go after that dream job. And if you got what you wanted, then feel free to drop off the training right now. But if you feel like doing this on your own, going solo, is anxiety provoking, if you know you need more money or a raise but have no idea how to ask for it, if the mere thought of networking still fills you with dread, if time is running out and you know you need to make a move, but that little voice in your head keeps saying you have no idea what you want to do, then stay with me for a couple more minutes. Remember, there's a $200 gift at the end as well. Because what we covered today is just one part of a bigger, complete blueprint for successful career growth and change. Remember how I told you earlier that my clients on average land their dream jobs in 5 months? That's because they're following the proven blueprint, which took me 5 years to perfect. Do you want to hear a little bit about it? Or, said differently, would you like to actually be excited for Monday mornings again? Do you want to know exactly how to ask for that raise? Do you want to overcome fear once and for all? Or do you want to feel confident because you know you have the step-by-step to help you land that deeply fulfilling job? Because you can take action on what I shared with you today and what you learned, and you can move fast. But if you move fast in the wrong direction, you're hosed. Because here's what I mean. Do you actually know what work energizes and drains you and why? Do you know how to choose work that aligns with what you value most? Do you know what you actually need to be fulfilled? Do you know what your work non-negotiables are? Because I spent almost 3 years in work wasteland, and I was stuck there because I knew none of these things. I was oblivious to the things that could have made me happier and more impactful. And I'm up here talking to you today because I don't want this to happen to you. My 12-year quest since I started coaching has been about what it takes to get to a radically fulfilling career. Because all this learning and fine-tuning and testing with myself and my clients is why I'm here. It works. Guys, I am in my dream job. I honestly get up every day with gratitude for the lives and the careers that I have the opportunity to change with the work I do. My clients get promoted. They nail the interviews, and I know this because they send me emails and they are on cloud 9 telling me so. They land their dream jobs. I love working with my one-on-one clients, but really wanted to scale this knowledge. We wanted to be able to reach and share and help thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people to get deeply fulfilling careers. And so Jennifer, Cindy, and I have spent the last 18 months cherry picking what works and putting all of this knowledge and all of these skills into an online course that's both accessible and affordable. Do you want to hear a little bit about it? It's called the Empower Experience, Uncover the Blueprint for Radical Career Fulfillment. Because here's the thing, you could have the perfect brand statement and the perfect networking strategy, but those are just 2 skills that you need. Because if you stop there, you could get a job, but it wouldn't be the right job. Because for successful career growth and change, you need 3 things. You need new knowledge and skills, because when you have this, you can be confident in what you want and what you want to do. You need a proven blueprint that helps you advance quickly and on the right path. And you need the right mentors so that you can learn from them and they can help you keep on track. And that's why we created the Empower Experience, because it provides all 3 of these things and more. So the journey begins with new knowledge and skills. And this is absolutely key, because the greater level of self-knowledge and skills that you have, the more effortless that the process feels. Now here's the whole complete blueprint. We start and begin with the knowledge of how to unlock the power of your brain. So in this module, you learn how your brain is wired so that you can choose jobs that align with your strengths. You learn how to adjust your communication in interviews so that the hiring manager feels 100% certain that you can do the job. And you know the work that allows you to make the greatest impact and maximize your income. Then we build on this by helping you identify your superpowers. These are like your super strengths. And in this module, you're going to learn what roles energize you and then allow you to showcase your very best work. You're going to identify the job responsibilities that drain you and how to avoid them. You'll learn how to stand out in interviews and confidently talk about your strengths. And you'll know how to ask for the role that you want and why you deserve it. Next is clarity. Clarity on what you need to be fulfilled. This is where you discover your hidden motivators. In this module, you'll realize why you've stayed in that unfulfilling job. You'll determine the kind of environment and boss and responsibilities that you need to have in place to feel truly fulfilled. You get clarity on what your non-negotiables are in any job. And you learn the keys to overcoming procrastination and helping yourself stay motivated. This is so key, because if you don't know what fulfills you, you will be wasting your time. But we don't stop there, because you need to know how to mesh your values and your career. In this module, you learn you discover what gives you meaning in your work and how to work in alignment with what's most important to you, with what you value most. You learn to make sure that your next role is culturally a good fit for you. And you uncover the secret code to true happiness and ease in your dream job. So at this point, you've got all the knowledge and the skills that you need. So now it's time to give you a proven blueprint to guide you through the process. So in Module 5, we tie everything together and we show you how to get there. So in this module, you actually formulate your career blueprint. So you'll gain the confidence to take the next step in finding your dream job, and you'll know what that next step is. You define your definitive criteria list to find that best fit role. And you learn how to use this to evaluate new opportunities so that you know exactly whether the job is a fit for you or not. And you gain the tools to confidently position and sell yourself in interviews. But last but not least, in addition, you gain the built-in mentorship that you need. And there's 3 parts to this Empower Experience program and the learning and the mentorship that's provided. First is how you are learning. So the program itself is engaging. We built it that way. There's a specific start and end date, so you know where you're tracking along the way and you don't fall behind. There's short video modules and pieces that are easy to digest and access and apply. And there's a leaderboard. We keep track of how everyone's doing, and there's prizes. Secondly, we have live small group coaching calls. And this is with 12 to 15 people, and they're led by Jennifer, Cindy, or I. And so we're doing this to be able to answer the questions that you have, to help you get unstuck, and to help you put that learning into practice. Each one of these coaching calls is a gold mine of practical advice. Third, you get what we call a mini mastermind. And this is a trio, a team of 2 other peers plus you, and an opportunity for you to get inspiration and input and feedback and accountability. It helps you get the most out of the program. So now you have a sense and an understanding of what this complete blueprint for successful career change is. Would you like to hear a little bit about the investment? I thought you might say so. This program is a 10-week course with unlimited access. And each training has a downloadable manuals and exercises that you can personalize for your specific situation. The first module that I just talked to you about is called Unlock the Power of Your Brain, valued at $2,297. The second module is where you identify your superpowers, and that is valued at $34.97. Module 3 is where you discover your hidden motivators, valued at $19.97. And the fourth module is where you mesh your values and your career, valued at $3,097. And last but not least is Module 5, where you pull it all together and follow your blueprint for success. And that is valued at $27.97. The total value for content alone is $13,685. Now, each one of these separate modules are different workshops that we have led in corporate environments, that we have led in a mastermind leadership growth program. And so the value is absolutely proven in every single one of these. Now, I told you about the live coaching calls, but in addition to that, you get the mentorship, the guidance, and the answers by Jennifer, Cindy, or I as your group coach. And so these live coaching calls are valued at $1,247. So we now have a total value in the program of $14,932. The point here is to help you move forward, to provide direction and ensure that no one gets left behind. And then there's the mini masterminds. So this is where you get the trio of connection, community, input, and accountability to help you make this program a success. This is your easy button to networking opportunity. So the dynamic mini masterminds are valued at $1,097. And now we have a total value of $16,029. So in addition, we have curated 4 specific bonus courses that have been chosen to help you through this process. The first bonus is called Networking Made Simple. And in this, you're going to go deeper. Some of this you learned on the training today, but in this bonus course, you go deeper. You learn to demystify networking and flip any feeling of angst into confidence. It has complete manuals, templates, and scripting to help you. Remember that 85% I talked about earlier? 85% of jobs found through professional relationships? This bonus alone is worth the cost of the entire program. And so the bonus of Networking Made Simple, we're valuing at $697. Probably worth a lot more than that. The second bonus is called Create Your Personal Brand. And this is where you take the brand statement that you did today and you build on it to create your complete professional brand. And so this is where you learn how you can speak and position yourself, how to use social media to your advantage, and even awareness of how you need to physically show up, your physical presence, to align with your brand. It's the fastest way to unite who you are with what you do. And this bonus, Create Your Personal Brand, is valued at $597 for a total now of $17,323. Now we keep going. There's a third bonus course that's called Cultivating Your Growth Mindset. You want to know an expert coaching secret? The real reason why you procrastinate, self-sabotage, or doubt yourself is your mindset. You change your mindset, you change your life and your career. Really. This course teaches you to get the growth mindset and to overcome obstacles and position yourself for unlimited success. This course is the reason why you could ask for that 30% raise. The last bonus is what I call the prereq to any job search. This course is called Sticky Resume and LinkedIn Profile. Your resume and your LinkedIn are the 2 most critical prerequisites for any job search. One mistake and you're at the bottom of the pile. This bonus teaches you the secrets of writing a sticky LinkedIn and resume. Sticky so that recruiters and hiring managers just can't let go of it. Don't be one of the 50% that gets screened out. So this bonus, the Sticky Resume and LinkedIn Profile, is valued at $497. The total value on the program is $18,317. After we built out all this knowledge and the blueprint and the mentorship, Jennifer and Cindy and I had 2 choices. One, we could make it as cheap as possible and do the quantity over quality thing. But the problem with that is that we couldn't add the extra value for you. We couldn't afford to give you the coaching and the group calls. Those are the game changers. Or 2, we could go with a slightly higher investment on your side and pack the program with value, time, energy, resources to guarantee your success. But let's pause here and pull up and really ask the most important question. What's a radically fulfilling career worth to you? How helpful would it be to have a personal blueprint so that each time you go to make a career move, you know exactly what to do? What would it be worth to look at a job description and in 10 seconds know whether it's a good fit for you or not? Or to feel so confident in the value and your value you have to offer the employer that it's like you are interviewing them versus hoping that they like you. Like, what if you had all of that? Like, what could be possible for you? People will pay over $18,000 for programs like this because they deliver the results and the outcome that are equal to the investment that they're making. So honestly, $18,317 is good ROI because most people, and certainly the most serious professionals that I work with, they set aside a budget for their career development. Executive coaching alone can cost easily over $25,000 for a 6-month engagement. And then you add masterminds and resume prep and LinkedIn review and interview knowledge. All of those things are sourced separately, and they end up being a huge investment, both in your money and in your time. And so we wanted to package all of this together. And so we are giving you all of this in one integrated learning experience over 10 weeks. And believe me, this has been tested and perfected with hundreds of clients and proven to work. We wouldn't be offering it if it didn't. And so now I hope you can see how the knowledge, the blueprint, and the mentorship is worth over $18,000. But because we feel really strongly about helping you transform your career, because of this, and we wanted to make it accessible and affordable for everyone, we have built all of this content I just shared with you, plus the 4 bonus courses, at a price of $19.97. And you guys, this is actually a really special opportunity. In addition, we are offering a payment plan, 3 easy payments at $6.99. Guys, this is a no-brainer. So go and click in the chat box where there's a link for registration, and you can choose which way that you want to pay. I think you're on this training because deep down, you know something is not quite what it could be in your career. Perhaps it's your soul call. Like, our superpower is to see the best in our clients and help them realize the potential so that they can get into the jobs they want. Our clients get promoted, they get new jobs, they start new businesses, they get offers. It's amazing. But let me ask you a question. How many times have you learned something new or been presented with a new opportunity and done nothing? Or how many times have you said, oh, it's just not right, it's just not the right time right now? Or how many times have you put everyone and everything else before yourself? So at this point, you have 2 choices. Number 1 is to do nothing and carry on with your career exactly the way it is. Number 2 is to put yourself and your career first and sign up. Join us for this new learning and skills. So there's a reason that you're here. Don't stay in a work wasteland another day. Because the sooner that you learn this new knowledge, the sooner that your career can catapult to new heights. Like, we know that the structure is powerful and the results truly are inevitable, as long as you show up and you commit to the work. But we get it. You might not be used to investing money in your professional growth, and you may want some assurance, and guarantees can help this. And our offer is that if you're not fully satisfied for any reason, we will refund your money. I call this your happiness guarantee. No risk, only reward. And consider this, 91% of Empower Coaching clients went on to land new jobs, start businesses, and get promoted after completion of this kind of program. So now that you have your happiness guarantee, please join us in the Empower experience, because we are just weeks away from kickoff. And so I encourage you to join the community and reserve your seat now. I so appreciate that you are still with us after all this time. And so we wanted to provide you with a special gift and to sweeten the deal. So we're offering a coupon code, loyalty, to provide you with $200 off. So this gives you the entire blueprint, the entire Empower experience for only $17.97. So there's a point on the very last page of the handout, if you're following along, to write the code so that you can remember it. In addition, you can go to the chat box right now. Take action now, use that special code, loyalty, and get yourself started. Here's that offer again. The complete blueprint for radical career fulfillment, the fully integrated 10-week learning experience. Join us and say yes to your greatest potential and a career you love. And go to the chat box. That's where you will find all the details. Thank you very much for participating in this training and joining us.